From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICB Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show. And I got my main man, the Wednesday correspondent himself, NFL agent, and just badass radio personality himself, Mike Abadir. What's going on, Mike? How's everything?
There he is. What's good, brother? How you doing?
I'm well. I saw you.
Exciting couple days coming up, man.
I know. I saw you.
NFL Draft, Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks. Love it.
Yeah, I heard that, man. You didn't hear me, though. I said I saw you boogie into the intro as well, too, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Of course, man. Always.
Mike getting his funky chicken on,
Always. Usually this weekend is like a great one for sports. It always has been. This and Memorial Weekend have always been some of my favorites in sports, especially too when it lines up where you got like NBA playoffs and a boxing fight. And remember there was that year it was like the Clippers and the Warriors, I think. And then there was a Pacquiao fight, and there was, it lines up so well. May is a great month, and I'm super stoked for the next few days.
I heard that, but the last few days of April was great because that's always when I get my turn around the sun, all that good stuff. Everything just works itself out. But the draft is a little bit later than it usually has been over the last few years as well too. They want to kind of mix in with this weekend as well too. I think it's very smart. Now, real quick, we're gonna jump into the Kentucky Derby real quick, Mike. I want to see who your Oaks and your Derby pick is.
That's where you want to start, man. I love it. Let's get cranking with the Oaks first. Okay. Just go kind of in sequential order. So I have my picks here. The Oaks to me is interesting this year because usually you have more West Coast representation, right? So the first thing that stood out to me, and let's face it, the West Coast 3-year-olds have really dominated over the last decade or so. So to me, this is a very big, glaring omission. The only West Coast horse I'm seeing in this race is the, the McCarthy entry with Flavian Pratt on board. Everybody else is East Coaster. Everybody else is either Aqueduct, Gulfstream, Keeneland, Churchill, or Fairgrounds. So that's just kind of the starting point. I've got a long shot for you, Pop. And for your audience out there, you heard it here first. Kenny McPeak is very, very dangerous in these type of situations. Okay? Where there's no absolute clear-cut horse to single or to key in on in a field. I always notice Kenny McPeak because he's able to deliver. He's done so time and time again. So take a look at number 4, Crazy Beautiful. This horse has done nothing wrong. 6 out of 7 in the money, 3 wins out of 7 races. Now you're going to look and say maybe there's some lighter speed figs. But I mean, look at this horse running several grade 1s, grade 2s already. This horse has gone up against the best of the best in the division. Very classy horse, and it gets the legendary Jose Ortiz to ride. So I'm going to go with number 4, Crazy Beautiful, 15-1 morning line. I don't think you're going to get 15-1. I'd be very happy if I got above like 9-1, 10-1, but we'll see. We'll see how the 6, 10, and 12 take the money. I'd say between between the three favorites, I don't know, man. I would kind of lean towards maybe the 6 Travel Column, because Travel Column is 2 for 2 at the distance. 2 for 2 at Churchill. So I like it when I see a horse has done well at that track where they're running. So he's got success there, or she's got success there. That's got Florent Giroux on board for Brad Cox. So if I were to do a 2-horse exacta box, it would be 4-6. 2 other quick long shots I want to mention that you could sprinkle into your superfectas are number 1, Pauline's Pearl, and number 5, Pass the Champagne. Santana and Asmussen, always lethal. Javier, and George Weaver. They don't team up often, but they do some damage when they team up together. So 4 is my top choice, followed by the 6. The 2 long shots are 1 and 5. Sprinkle those in with the couple other favorites. I think you got yourself a superfecta.
All right, and you can get mines tomorrow on Horsing Around tomorrow, because I'm gonna save mines for that one right there. But yeah, the Oaks is looking really good, and I think that you'll get yourself a good price here this year as well too. Because if Susay was in this race, that horse would have out leveled this field, in my opinion. But you know what? The trainers are sitting back, falling back, and looking at other races where they can go ahead and dominate. And you know what? It is just a little bit too quick for that really good horse to just turn it back around like that as well too, because they're not trying to send the horse out there just to be in the race. They want to win. So, you know, they got to give the horse an extra 2 weeks off or so, and will probably run in the Apple Blossom. Is that what they call it? The Pimlico race that they have? Not Apple Blossom,
it's
they have a Friday as well too. So whatever Pimlico
the
race,
Black Eyed Susan.
The Black Eyed Susan, I would say Susay will probably go to that race right there. But let us get your Derby pick real quick as well too.
Wow,
it's not hard. You know, it's only really 2 horses here.
You know what, man? Here's the thing: I don't come with it to give out favorites or obvious. Right. Obviously, Essential Quality is worthy of a look, but let me give you a couple of horses real fast to maybe consider. And they are number 17, Highly Motivated, Chad Brown, and Javier Castellano. The 17 post is interesting because a lot of people are like, oh, it's outside post, but I think we've had some winners from the 17 spot. So I don't think it's a huge issue. 17 is probably my favorite long shot, number 10. Obviously, number 15, You Got Me on Rock Your World. Staying on Rock Your World. This horse has got some serious abilities, underestimated. I think Sadler gets his first Derby, or, you know, he's got a good chance to get his first Derby. And then just keep in mind, if you're playing exotics, try boxes, superfecta boxes, etc., don't forget about Hot Rod Charlie, Doug O'Neill, Flavor Flav, Flavian Pratt on the 9 horse, Mike Smith and Asmussen on the 10, 20-1, and then one more, which is, where is that one? I marked it up, and now I don't see it. I think that's pretty much it. I think those are the main ones to look out for. This isn't Baffert's year. It just ain't Baffert's year. I'm a big Baffert guy. I've ridden him when I feel it's necessary, but this isn't his year. So 17, 15, 9, and 10. I would mix some boxes like that. Okay.
And then no 14.
One more long shot. I apologize. One more long shot. Number 7, Mandaloon. Mandaloon is worthy of a look. 1 for 1 at Churchill Downs as well. So, and I'm giving out 5 because a lot of people, including myself, like to do like 5-horse try boxes. It's really hard to nail a 3-horse box in a 20-horse field, but a 5-horse box for 50 cents, only $30. You know,
I like to do super high fives myself. So I have.
Now, is that 50 cents or $1?
They usually do it for $1 over there. It's a $60 it's a $60 box bet if you do it, if you box it up. But then you can do different things like kid and stuff like that. But if it hits the right way, you can cash out very nicely because the lowest amount of money you'll get is like $250 on that. You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of people have to look at in a sense as well too. So pretty much, but real quick, with Medina Spirit, you do get the feel though. You got the silver charm feel to it. If he gets to pressing and he's at the top of the stretch, he could have a shot. But I really just think that when you put essential quality and Rock Your World right next to each other, match race. I'm telling you, these horses are going to look at each other and they're going to run. They're going to literally,
So you're in agreement with my 17-15 top two choices.
17-15. I do like where you're going with that one, but you're going to have me go ahead and just break it out a little bit early. I love the 15. I can't overlook essential quality in the 14 hole. Then, I love me some Hot Rod Charlie as well, too. And then I got to go.
By the way, for all of your viewers out there, we didn't coordinate this.
Right.
This is just my handicapping. This is his handicapping.
Right. So we have that in tow. And then, I just can't forget about Medina Spirit. I just have too much respect for Bob Baffert in his race. And I respect that horse a lot, too, because I was a big fan of Silver Charm, and he's doing everything Charm was doing. Charm got blew away in the Santa Anita Derby as well too, and he was a good horse coming into the Derby, but he wasn't the favorite, and he went against the great Tappet as well too, even though Tappet made his money in the barn more than anything, but Tappet was in that race as well too. So that's big time. You know what I mean?
Here's my knock against Medina Spirit: 5 races, 2 wins, and the last couple, 8 lengths back, 4.5 lengths back. And I didn't think they were necessarily great fields that Medina Spirit was going up against. And I know this is crazy, outlandish to say this. I don't like Johnny V teaming up with Baffert.
Yeah.
Johnny V and Baffert, I don't know about that combo, man.
Yeah. So, and I just got a text right now. They tell me stop giving out Rock Your World because they want to get some coin. No, you guys are going to go with your Kentucky horse, your big horse, essential quality. Essential quality might get bet down to a 9-5 just because they feel somebody's going to feel that good about him going into the gate. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And then I think also there's going to be another horse. The one horse could possibly take some money as well, too. He's 6-1 right now. Known Agenda. Is it Known Agenda in the one hole?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Known Agenda can take home some money. But we can talk about this all day, Mike. Man, let's go ahead. You know what we'll do? We'll take a quick break real quick, and we're going to jump into this draft as soon as we come back from break, okay? With that, we will be right back. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, which your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and Mike Abadir, and we'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, Mike, let's go ahead and talk about it. We are into the draft now. And real quick, you're an NFL sports agent. What are the expectations on draft day in these war rooms? Is it already rigged? because sometimes I feel like these teams already negotiate who they're going to pick at these spots, and they just go ahead and say, okay, that's what we're going to do. And, even when there's spots where that this guy should be going there, but they still don't take him, you know what I mean? Does it kind of make sense to you with my question?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Here's the thing, man. This April, like April Fools, April is Liars Month in NFL.
Mm-hmm.
All the ages know that. It's Liars Month in the NFL, right? So you never believe any of the BS that you hear as an agent. From the team side, yeah, it depends on the team. Patriots are very well organized. They've got a chain of command. They filter it all the way to the top, and they make their decisions. They're ready to rock and roll. They have their escape plan. They have their A path, B path, C path. Okay. The Raiders, they actually have to fight for who they want, right? So you have they have the scouts that are scouting all over the country, and they're divided up by region, Pop. So you have like West Coast scouts, Southwest scouts, East Coast scouts, etc. So you have your West Coasters that are watching very closely all the SC players, UCLA, Fresno State, San Diego State, UW, the Oregon schools, Idaho, all the way to maybe Colorado or something. And once it gets to like the late rounds or free agency, they're like, you got to take this guy. We have another East Coast agent saying, no, you got to take this guy. So then the college director of scouting has to make a final decision alongside the general manager. And so they kind of hear the case. It's battled between these scouts. Take my guy. No, you take my guy. There's sense of pride. You take my guy, and he explodes in the league. That validates me as a scout. So that's what happens within a lot of these organizations. So sometimes that's playing out in real time. So it really depends on the team. Some map it out well in advance. Other teams are battling it out real time internally to decide who to go with. As an agent, expectations wise, I like to downplay expectations. More importantly than that, with my client, that is. More importantly than that, I like to have my plan A, B, C all lined up, especially when you get in the latter rounds of free agency, of the draft and approach free agency, undrafted free agency. Because at that point, you have a sense for which teams are interested in your guy. And just so your viewers know, the last pick in the 7th round is taken off the board, Mr. Irrelevant. The moment that pick is taken off the board is a signing frenzy for undrafted free agents. It like opens up free agency right at that point. And so you literally are fielding calls and missing calls and texts, because the teams are like, all right, they have a draft board of like 50 linebackers, let's say. And let's just say you've got their 7th best one. When they call you, if you don't pick up, they're going to scratch off the 7th and go to the 8th best one. Right? So there's that chess game also of who do I field? Who do I make commitments to? I don't want to shoot my wad too early, so to speak, type thing. So There's a lot of fascinating aspects of the draft that goes on behind the scenes.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And this is a true insider right here, not just somebody behind their computer talking from a Sports Center story that they might have heard 20 years ago. So, you guys getting a real inside scoop here with Mike, who's been at the draft with a first round top picks before as well, too. So he got a great understanding of what's going on tomorrow. So pretty much these are the 5 teams that can't miss in the draft to me. First team in the group is going to be the Jets, because the Jets been missing in the draft for the last decade. And they really do need to step it up this time around. They have the same type of coach they had when they brought in Rex Ryan, in my opinion. But he's a little bit more cooler and a little bit more and a bit smarter as well, too. In my opinion, he's a little bit more he's new age. Rex Ryan was still kind of stuck in the old days. He was trying to be like his father, and it didn't work out. You know what I mean? He was trying to kind of be like Buddy, players coach, and but that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, and his decision making was terrible at the end of the day as well too. So Saleh gets a fresh start. They wanted to go with the offensive mind with Gase last time out. This time around, they want to go ahead and get to where their strength is at, the defense, and bring in a defensive coach. And they want to bring in a brand new quarterback. So real quick, what are your thoughts? Are the Jets number one on a team that can't miss in this draft? Because they can't ruin another quarterback. They've ruined about 3 or 4. They're starting to turn into the Browns a little bit in this situation.
I have bad news for Jets fans. They're going to miss again this year. Yeah, they can't miss, but they're going to miss. Because I'm not buying into – we all know Trevor Lawrence is going to go first to the Jags, right? So where does that leave us, right? They leave us with the Jets and then the 49ers. We know that they both want quarterbacks. Right. So who do we have? We have Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. Those are kind of the what people are thinking are going to be the next two off the board. I think the Jets are going to go with Zach Wilson. And he might be a one-year wonder. We don't know. A lot of people are comparing him to, well, Joe Burrow had 1 year and he exploded. But Zach Wilson, he's kind of small, man. Now, you could say, well, Kyler Murray has defeated the small quarterback kind of stereotype. Yes and no, because Kyler Murray, his athleticism is off the charts.
Right.
I don't know if Zach Wilson's is. So I think the Jets are going to go with him, and they're going to strike out. And then I think the Niners, they have to go with Justin Fields, man. But some weird feeling in me tells me they're going to go with Mac Jones, which I think will also be a big mistake.
Well, we're going to have a little bit of a surprise in a moment in my mock draft. So we'll see how it goes in a second. But I'm telling you right now that the Jets, we all know it's going to be a toxic situation. So I guess that they need to reserve themselves in the basement this year as well, too. So, we got seats for 53 in the AFC East basement.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Look, the only way they don't miss is if they either go for Justin Fields or the tight end from Florida, Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is, Kelsey type, dominance, Kittle type dominance. That's what we're going to see out of Pitts in the league. So if you want a star, Pitts is one of the safest bets in the draft. And outside of Trevor Lawrence, I'd use my pick on Justin Fields. I'm not saying that he's going to be a superstar or anything like that, but I think he's the safest bet amongst the next group of quarterbacks after Lawrence.
I totally agree, but you know what? There's some things coming out, and you know how these guys get. You know what I mean? So, and they're trying to use the whole Ohio State quarterback thing against them as well, too. So that's a little bit of a eyesore as well. So the next team in this group that I have, and we can be real quick with this one, the Lions, because they've been flunking out the draft pretty much every year the last 20 years. I think the best two picks they've had over that time stretch have been Matt Stafford and the Megatron, who's going to the Hall of Fame. Real quick, do you consider the Lions another team that can't miss in this draft as well, too?
Yeah, where did they pick? 15th, I think?
No, they're actually picking 7th.
7th?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, they're picking 7th.
Why do I have the Oh, yeah, my bad.
It's cool.
My bad. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing that's really tough as a fan. Yeah, they can't miss, man. But they're probably going to go with, like, the O-lineman Penei Sewell from Oregon. Right, that's probably going to be the best player for them to take. Not very exciting when it comes to the fan base. Very hard to get excited about an offensive lineman that's going to be blocking for Jared Goff. I mean, if you're a Lions fan, are you stoked about that? Now, you have to have these building blocks, right? But it's just hard for Lions fans to not have any razzle-dazzle. Where are running backs? Where is our big play tight end? Where's our hard-hitting safety?
Right.
They're going to go with the O-lineman.
Well, look, the biggest problem with Detroit last year was not finishing games. Detroit could have been a playoff team last year in how many close games that they played in and how many games they blew as well, too. So, pretty much I think, as I told people before, I feel that in all honesty, and I know it sounds crazy today, but we'll see when we get to the regular season, Jared Goff is an upgrade in this situation over Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's at the twilight of his career, and they're doing some Roger Clemens mojo type stuff with the Rams, trying to get something out of this guy. But the quarterback that went to the Super Bowl is playing in Detroit. Okay, and he led that team to the Super Bowl. Everybody can give as much credit to Gurley as they want to, but I went to an actual game that season. It was the greatest game you'll ever see in life. It was a game against the Chiefs at the Coliseum.
Monday night.
Goff put on an absolute clinic at quarterback. I know the quarterback position very, very well, and I know how to judge the quarterback position very well. And that's a guy you go to war with. I don't care what the critics say, what they own, because they wouldn't be able to face that situation the way he did, and their favorite quarterback won't be able to face that situation the way he did as well too in that game. He kept going. He kept the moxie up. They got down by a little bit, but he did not let that stop him, and he was leading on the sideline left and right. The cameras don't show you everything, okay? They was always making it seem like Jared Goff was just chilling and letting McVay run the show. It doesn't. No, you're not going to be a quarterback in the league if you're doing that.
You make some valid points, man. I think what hurts guys like Jared Goff are they're quarterbacks that don't have big personalities, that maybe come off as maybe aloof. They are automatically judged as not being team leaders or locker room guys or whatever. And I think it's a little bit unfair. Guys like Flacco, Goff, I mean, these guys have taken their teams to far in the playoffs, to Super Bowls, etc. And they sometimes don't get the credit they deserve because they're not flashy and outspoken and loud and boisterous, etc. Right? Not huge celebrators, not big me type guys. And so I get what you're saying. So you think the Rams got the short end of the stick when it comes to that trade?
They look desperate. I'm sorry. You just look really desperate going after Matt Stafford. And knowing that you could have waited a year if you really wanted him and just signed him through free agency. Because we all know that he was at an impasse with the Lions. So even if he would have played for the Lions this year, they would have figured out a way to get rid of him after next season. They were already at their wits' end with him as is. But if they would have had to take on another year with him, they would have done that. But then they would have been able to release him this year. But they want to get some value for him as well, too, because the thing is, Detroit has some smart people up there in the front office. But let's go ahead and move along, because we got, we on a time schedule right now. So let's move along and talk about the Bengals. And the Bengals can't miss in this draft either, because they have the opportunity to get a game-changing wide receiver. And this is about their third opportunity in the top 10 to do this as well, too. It started with a guy by the name of Peter Ward. Then they got A.J. Green. Now they got the chance to get his favorite receiver, Jamarcus Chase, from LSU, the guy who's seen as the number one receiver coming into this draft. And he took a whole year off, so you don't have to worry about the injuries or anything of that nature. But this guy is a question mark to me, because you haven't played in a year, and these are the guys that go into the first day of camp and blow their knee out or something like that. So they're taking a little bit of a risk here with a guy who's been off a year. So what are your thoughts real quick on Cincinnati? Where do they have to go here?
If I talked about the Florida tight end earlier, if Kyle Pitts somehow 6'6", 240, wouldn't that be a great target for Burrow? Yes. If somehow he's available, I would take him. But if not, Jamar Chase makes sense simply because of the chemistry and the connection with Burrow, right? At least we know they've done it together successfully.
Right. And
you can't say that for any other receiver in this draft, right? Clearly, Chase and Jalen Waddle from Alabama are the two most coveted wide receivers in the draft. And let me say something very interesting about this draft, by the way. We may go 7, 8, 9 picks without seeing a defensive player. That hasn't happened since the 50s.
Yeah.
Kind of shows you how the league has shifted its emphasis out of defense and into offense. We haven't seen that.
Right. Because we're dealing with a draft this year with a lot of teams that were really bad at the quarterback position. The Jets didn't have good quarterback play last year. The 49ers had an injury issue last year, but they're overspending on the quarterback. That's why they're chasing the quarterback right now. And then, the Jaguars are the Jaguars. Come on, man. they went in with the idea knowing that, okay, we got Trevor Lawrence, a possibility of getting him. We got a cool little story. We got a cool little goofball story here with our quarterback Minshew, but we know he's not going to take us anywhere further than 3 to 4 wins. And there'll be some good little, we try wins, but at the end of the day, he's not going to get us to the playoffs. So they know that part as well too. And then pretty much you got other teams that need playmakers as well too. They might have the quarterback, but they don't have the playmakers to put in position. So that's where the Bengals fall into place at too. Now the Dolphins are 4th team on the list. The Dolphins, I put them here because the Dolphins have multiple first-round picks, and if they can't hit on both of them, they're going to kind of regress a little bit because they kind of oversold themselves with Tua last year, knowing that they should have went with Justin Herbert, who was the better fit for what they have going on. So, pretty much, what are your thoughts real quick on the Dolphins?
Yeah, look, I'm not very big on Tua. Let's get that out of the way. He's not a terrible player. I just don't think he's a great NFL player. I think he's one of those guys that after the 3rd year, I think the Dolphins will go for another quarterback. That's kind of my prediction with the Dolphins. With that said, the Dolphins have lately, the trend has been for them to kind of pursue these smaller type wide receivers. And I think Jalen Waddle kind of fits into that mold. They need to get some weapons anyway for Tua. If he's going to succeed, he's got to have more playmakers. And, Waddle's a speed burner, man. So, I think he can be a 1 in the league. Your wide receiver 1. He's a speed burner, man. I think he could really be a great playmaker in this league. And like I said, fits into the Dolphins kind of scheme. They like those smaller receivers for whatever reason. And heck, we've even seen like Grant, who's like 5'8", do well with the Dolphins in limited playing time because he had some injuries. So they know what to do with them. And so far, got to say, love me some Flores. He's proven himself in a short period of time. He's done a remarkable job with the Miami Dolphins.
And you know what? When I look at the Dolphins, I think that he might have made the wrong decision last year throwing Tua into the fire like that as they were in a playoff spot. It reminded me of what Mike Pettine did with the Browns when he threw in Johnny Manziel for no reason. You know what I mean? They got the flow going with Hoyer. They got a great record going, and they almost had the same identical record in a sense when you throw in this starter of the future. And then he doesn't work out. The moment that, they saw that the defense saved him in the first few games, everybody in Miami was ready to sell the kid. So pretty much my thing is, real quick, I compare him to a Raider backup who backed up he probably was there around when you were working for the Raiders. Marquise Tuapa-Sopo. That's who Tua actually is. And that's a great analogy. When you got to the draft, that Marquise was a lefty. He was a big gamer as well, too, in college. But the thing is, he was too small for the league, and he couldn't catch up with the play. He was a great playbook guy. I know somewhere he's an offensive coordinator, head coach at some high school or some small college now, or maybe he's still in the NFL. I don't know where he's at, but I know he's a coach somewhere where he's at if he's still involved in football. And so pretty much that's what I can see Tua doing to be a legendary legend in his career. We'll talk about he could have got the Heisman and all that, blase. But real quick, our final team we're going to talk about this, and we're going to be real quick about this. We know that this team has been messing up in the draft since they haven't had a real solid draft pick to me since maybe Charles Woodson in the first round or so. I know that's kind of just saying a bit much. I know because they had Khalil Mack as well too. But the Raiders, man, the Raiders can't mess up in this draft. They have to think defense. The offense is okay. They have Derek Carr, who's a big game quarterback. He can throw the ball to undrafted free agents if he has to, as long as they can catch the ball. But they need as I said before, Micah Parsons is the perfect fit for this team, but whoever is behind him, if he's not there for the Raiders to select, they need a middle linebacker, like seriously, badly, because that's the position that's been the biggest weak spot for me to the on the Raiders. If they get themselves, we talked about this already. I know I'm kicking a dead horse, but if they get the Greg Beaker type, the Orlando McClain type, the guy that doesn't have off the field issues, the Raiders defense is about to be legit, and that's exactly what they need to do to be a team that's going to be competing with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the LA Chargers next season, and even with the Denver Broncos.
Great points. I think there's probably going to be 3 linebackers that they're going to be considering with that 17th pick. The kid from Kentucky, Jamin Davis, Micah Parsons as well from Penn State. And these are all very different type of linebackers that I'm mentioning, by the way. And Jeremiah Owasu Koromoa from Notre Dame. Different type of linebackers. The Micah Parsons type, 6'3", 244, prototypical, just probably impact guy. I like him quite a bit. Whereas Koromora, 6'1", 215, kind of the smaller, athletic, what they call a tweener. They probably ask him to put on some weight. And then Jamin Davis, 6'4", 234. He's the Kentucky kid. I think he's the guy they may pull the trigger on. Whoever they take, they better not miss, because they need some defensive guys and in a hurry, because Carr's proven to be a legit quarterback, and he could you need him to put up 30, he'll put up 30. You need him to put up 35, he'll put up 35. You need him to put 38, 38. 40, you're asking a bit much of any NFL quarterback. You need to have that defense.
Right, and you really need to have that defense intact when you go back east, because the Raiders seem to always play under when they play in the games that go under, and these games are tough to win because it might be a little too cold that day, and Carr can win those games for you all day. He's won a lot of these close games, close, low-scoring games, but if he has defense intact that can give him a shutout, the Raiders can do big things this year. That's what they need.
Absolutely. Well, look, man, the Raiders are a very frustrating team, right? Because they could go in and whip the Kansas City Chiefs and then lose to the New York Jets last play of the game. Right. That's the Raiders. Right. And they've been enigmatic like that for a long time. They've always kind of been an enigmatic team. It's maybe part of their charm, but that has to stop, because look, what year now are we going into for Gruden out of the 10-year deal? Right. Once he gets through 5 years of absolute mediocrity, then that kind of proves it was a terrible investment by Mark Davis. Right. And now maybe it's not his fault. What's that?
It proves Al Davis right too.
There you go.
Because the only way that Gruden can ever crawl around a Raider organization is because of Mark. If Al was still just even kicking, if we had a breathing machine, and he would have said, "Hell no," that he didn't like Gruden. It didn't matter how many apologies Gruden had. Al made his mind up He made his mind up when he traded him to Tampa Bay. No more. And another guy that got to be welcomed back by Mark Davis was Charles Woodson as well too. He didn't lead the Raiders with in a good state with Al Davis, not at all. Al Davis couldn't wait to get rid of him. As lazy as he got. Come on, let's keep it real. Come on, you were there. Woodson, the last few years with the Raiders before he got rejuvenated, he was literally on the sideline spitting out sunflower seeds each game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he looked more than healthy. But let's go ahead, jump into it, because we are going well over. Let's talk about this draft, and I'm going to go with the first pick in the draft, and the obvious pick in the draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select quarterback Trevor Lawrence. All right, Trevor Lawrence is the golden boy, the golden arm, the can't-miss quarterback. They've been waiting for 2 years for this guy to be drafted. They feel like he's an Andrew Luck type, a Peyton Manning type. So that means that he'll just get his team to a certain point, but that doesn't mean he's going to get you any championships. That's what they're telling me. So pretty much, I know that's kind of a slight, but I think at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence will have a good career, but we'll see how it goes with the connection that he has with Urban Meyer moving forward, and knowing that Urban Meyer doesn't have that much time to be their head coach. I would give Urban Meyer, even if they're successful, about 5 or 6 years, because he just can't handle the stress stresses of coaching, and I definitely know he's not going to be able to handle the NFL if he can't handle, Florida and Ohio State. But we can understand because those are some bad situations at the end as well too, especially about the discipline of the team. And that's the only thing I question about Urban Meyer, that you have to have a disciplined bunch in the NFL. You can't have guys beating up people in the club and then showing up on Sundays to play a football game. So he's going to have to really get that part, taken care of. Real quick, what are your thoughts on Lawrence and the Jags? Do you think this is the right fit?
I think this is a guy that they have to take. I don't think they have any other options, Pop. And it makes all the sense in the world. You laid it out really well. Urban Meyer, let's see what he could do at the NFL level. Good starting point is for him to pick his guy, right? He doesn't inherit somebody. He's going to pick his guy. He's going to build this team the way he sees fit. And, he's a very intelligent offensive coach that likes to start with the most logical starting points. That's why I put so much emphasis on bringing in his type of quarterbacks at Ohio State. You pointed out that Ohio State quarterbacks haven't been great in the league, which is true. But I'll tell you what, they've been damn good college quarterbacks. And the reason for that is because there is the Urban Meyer way. I think he'll have a way in the NFL. It's going to be different than the Ohio State way, but I think he's going to have the Urban Meyer way. I think Trevor Lawrence perfectly fits that, and I think he's going to do pretty well. Not sure if he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, but I think he's going to be a nice quarterback with the Jags.
Okay, and there it is. All right, with the second pick in the draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson out of Brigham Young University. And Zach Wilson, okay, Zach Wilson. All right, this is a question mark. He had a great season in a college football season that saw 30% of the teams not even play. And it took them until about maybe week 6 or 7 to even rank BYU into the top 10. So pretty much Zach Wilson lost at the end of the year to Coastal Carolina of all teams, another team that came out of nowhere with, super duper quarterback somewhat. But do you think Zach Wilson is just an idea, or is he legit the real thing?
Played against terrible defenses, played against soft competition, undersized. It's going to be another Jets mistake.
All right. And I think I have to agree with you on that. I think the Jets just have a guy that if he doesn't do well, they can just go ahead and get rid of him right away, or figure out a way to get, they'll figure out a way to just mess this thing up with Zach Wilson. All in all, I don't think that he should be rushed into being the starter because he's not ready to be a starter in the NFL. But you know what? You can't stop the skeptics and fans from saying that he can't, because once they see him throw a bullet down the field, they're going to say that he's going to take us to the Super Bowl in 3 years. Watch this. You know that, Mike, when we get to training for right before preseason. Then you have, all right, so we have the San Francisco 49ers on the clock, and the San Francisco 49ers surprise all of us, and they go after the kid Trey Lance from North Dakota State. Right after Trevor Lawrence, does he fit the bill for the San Francisco 49ers? Mike, what do you think?
Well, that's an interesting pick. That's where you have him going. I think that's a little bit high, me personally, in terms of from a scouting perspective. I would not take this kid at that with a third pick. I just wouldn't. A lot of these guys look a lot better. They look like, even go back to like Carson Wentz. He looked like a superhero playing against that kind of competition, right? Because he was a lot better than anybody in that conference. But when you go to the NFL, everybody's a lot better than you. So you don't look so heroic anymore. You don't look like that superhero anymore. Look, this guy is athletic. He's got some good abilities. He's a smart decision maker. I don't know how his accuracy is going to pan out in the NFL. I think this would be a mistake by the 49ers. Look, just generally speaking, I'm very hard on quarterbacks for good reason, because most of them don't pan out. 17% of NFL first-round quarterbacks are under center after being in the league for 3 years. 17%. That means 83% are not even starting after the third year. So most of them are going to fail. I don't see enough to think that this guy has what it takes to take the 49ers back to the Super Bowl. They've got the defense in place. They've got a great running attack. I don't know. Trey Lance ain't my guy.
Well, I'm looking at the situation like this. Trey Lance is a great guy to bring in to go ahead and learn from Jimmy G. And I don't think that they have to see San Francisco's not in a position to rush their top quarterback in at all. He's not going to be the starter. It's just to get ready for the future because they're going to get rid of that big money that they have on the books with Jimmy G. And really they're basing themselves off of probably what the Patriots are going to do as well too. Now, if the Patriots back out and don't get the quarterback like they've been saying in the first round, then they'll probably be on the phone to try to get Jimmy G back on over there. But then we got to remember Cam's still there as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. But Trey Lance, to me, I think is going to be a sit guy, and that's why he's safe here. And I know a lot of people like Mac Jones, but from what I'm hearing is there's an impasse kind of going on where the coach loves Mac Jones, but the franchise loves Trey Lance. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But I like Trey Lance in this spot to kind of wait, and it could be another good Kaepernick situation for this team as well too, where you draft a guy, kind of put a little bit of a spark behind your starter's back, but once he goes down, this could be the Mickey Mantle situation. You know what I mean? So not Mickey Mantle, but Roger Maris. You know what I mean? So pretty much we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. Let's go to our fourth pick in the draft. And Atlanta surprises us all and goes with the best lineman on the board, Penei Sewell, to go ahead and protect Matt Ryan and try to make a run at that NFC South this year, which they got a key opportunity to do as well too. So I think lineman is the best choice for them. And if they don't go lineman, go with a defensive player as well, too. I know everybody wants them to get another offensive weapon, but they have Ridley and they still have Julio Jones as well, too. They can wait a little bit later on in the draft and not pay a big price tag for another playmaker down the road. There's a lot of playmakers in this draft, and all of them can't go in the first 10. What are your thoughts on this one real quick?
I like this kid. I think he's going to be a really good offensive lineman in the league. I think it will be interesting to see. How about a little trade talk? How about Chargers trading up to get him, getting Justin Herbert's old left tackle back to play for him when they played together, Oregon.
All right.
Right? So I could see Tom Telesco and the Chargers making a move here to, trade to get him. So we'll see about that because I think the Chargers need some help. They need to protect this kid. We know now that Herbert's dynamic. So I guess that kind of tells you all you need to know about how I feel about him. I think he's a guy. I mentioned if he goes to Detroit, it's not the sexiest pick. You kind of convinced me that Goff might have more in the tank than people realize, that he may be more of a special quarterback than people realize. But if this kid is still around, I think the Chargers will make a move for him.
All right. So with the fifth pick in the draft, the Bengals select Jamar Chase out of Louisiana State University, and I think that this one's going to work out very, very well for the Bengals. This is going to be a good move for them moving forward. They're going to have their quarterback back next season as well. But I know that also it would be nice for them to think about getting a good left tackle as well too. But Jamar Chase presents a element that you're not going to be able to get later on in the draft. So I think that it's a best player on the board situation. So I got Jamar Chase slated to the Bengals. What's your thoughts on this one, Mike?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Former LSU teammate of Joe Burrow. They're going to team up and do spectacularly well together. This is the pick for the Bengals. They do pull the trigger. They get Jamar Chase, and it works out very well at the NFL level. Very confident of that.
All right. So we had that, and we talked about it a little bit when we talked about what can't miss situations. So with that, you guys know you guys can go ahead and get yourself 10% off on any $50 order or better with the HatClub.com. So you guys go ahead and check them on out and get yourself that $50 get yourself that 10% discount with that $50 order or better. So once again, that's going to be the HatClub.com. So you guys go ahead and check them on out, and very worth the buy as well too. So when we get back, we're going to go through draft picks 6 through 10, and we will be right back to you. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, with your boy, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and Mike Abadir, and we'll be right back to you.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live. And real quick, I want to send a big shout out to my big sister. She lives in Cleveland, actually. She grew up in Cleveland, all that good stuff, even though she was born in California, but most of my family stays in Cleveland. So she has her students. She works over in the arts program and everything in Cleveland. The big arts programs, the live stuff where they do all the big plays and stuff with people, and where people from Cleveland get famous and go on to Hollywood and become great. Well, they got the kids are going to be singing the national anthem. Is that right? National anthem? Yeah. They're going to be singing the national anthem. So you guys be on the lookout for that. And that's going to be my sister's kid. She was kind of disappointed that I wasn't going to be in Cleveland this week for the draft. So, that's going to be pretty fun to watch right there. So you guys be
very cool
for that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I had to. One of my executive producers told me to throw that in, aka my pop. So
Good stuff.
Yeah. So pretty much, let's go ahead and get into pick number 6, and with the 6th pick in the draft, the Miami Dolphins select Kyle Pitts from the University of Florida, and they get a game-changing player who's going to make Tua kind of look good next year, or make the backup quarterback, whomever that may be, look really good next year. Because if I was the Dolphins, is Jameis Winston still a free agent? Or did he get re-signed by the Saints?
I believe he got re-signed by the Saints.
That was a bad deal. I would have went to Miami if I was him. I'd have figured out a way to get to Miami, because if you're a backup quarterback, that's where you want to be at right now, because Tua's either going to get hurt or he's going to get benched. That's how.
But keep in mind something, Pop. Jameis is going to have an opportunity to start there in New Orleans with that Brees stepping down.
I know. They're more high on the Tim Tebow guy. Come on, we know this. Come on, they like the wannabe Tim Tebow a little bit more. If Tim Tebow didn't pray as much, he would still be in the NFL.
Yeah.
If Jesus didn't come first, he would still be in the NFL. We both know this, but we don't need to get into that topic because that's a sensitive topic. And pretty much, we have this Kyle Pitts here. He can't be wasted. Okay, Mike, that's my whole thing. And I think that this guy will open it up, because usually a tight end for a quarterback that's kind of limited like Tua is your best friend. And I think this will help them out a lot. This will help their running game out a lot because it'll make them a little bit more deceptive. So I think this is the perfect fit for Kyle Pitts. He doesn't have to go anywhere but 30 miles down south to Miami from Gainesville. So I think it works. What's your thoughts?
Any of your listeners and viewers that have been tuned in from the beginning know how I've been talking up and down about Kyle Pitts. I love this kid. He's, to me, is probably overall, pound for pound, the best prospect in this draft. I love him. I think he's a can't miss kind of player. Keep in mind, he went up against all the upper echelon SEC DBs week in, week out, and this kid dominated. I love this kid. He runs routes like a wide receiver. He's able to create separation. He can pretty much do anything on the offensive receiving side of the game. I think, the NFL will get him to shore up his blocking abilities and to nail down all those assignments. But this kid is going to prove to be a mismatch week in, week out, just in the same way that I mentioned he compares, not in terms of his style, but just in terms of the mismatch impact, like George Kittle or like Travis Kelce. Love this pick.
All right. And so the Dolphins look like they win the top 10 if they're able to get Kyle Pitts, if the draft goes the way that I'm setting it up. So pretty much, but I know there's going to be a trade in here. So I didn't factor that in, but I can feel a trade in probably happened was at the same spot you said it was going to happen. That's why I put Sewell in that spot with Atlanta, because Atlanta really kind of wants to get out of that spot and get some assets for later on from what I'm hearing. But they're asking for a lot, though, at the same time, too. All right, with the 7th pick in the draft, the lowly Detroit Lions select wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and I already had Jalen Waddle pegged to the Lions months ago. I think that he falls to the Lions. He will be the first Alabama receiver off the board. Yes, we know that they had the Heisman at the same position, but this guy was hurt. And if he wasn't hurt, he probably wins the Heisman because Waddle is an exceptional wide receiver. And I think he was better. He's been their best wide receiver since he was a freshman, literally. So now he has the opportunity to play in the NFL at the next level. And you know what? He showed a lot to me playing in that national championship game that he did not need to play in, but he still played in it. And, he wanted to kind of show his toughness a little bit. And I think that's exactly what Detroit needs, is a tough player. And he fits the bill. That's why I got Jalen Waddle headed to the Lions. What's your thoughts on that?
What I'm really excited to see is if Detroit lets him cut it loose as a punt returner and a kick returner indoors in that dome. He's going to have an opportunity to field a lot of punts, a lot of noise, a lot of excitement. He's the real deal when it comes to his well-rounded game overall. A little bit undersized, but that didn't hurt his production at all, and at Alabama. And I think this is a solid pick for the Lions because he could do so much to help your football team win.
All right. And with the 8th pick in the draft, I'm going to surprise you a little bit. The Panthers select offensive tackle Elijah Vera Tucker, who's seen as the best tackle. And the reason why I peg him to the Panthers is because this is a safe pick. And he's a USC tackle, USC lineman. USC linemen usually are 10 to 15-year players in the NFL. Lots of them have been all pros. Some of them been Hall of Famers. And I think Tyron Smith, when I think of this selection right here, Tyron Smith of the Cowboys, and this is exactly the building piece that the Panthers need moving forward. I think that they're going to wind up starting his old quarterback from Temple at some point at quarterback for him. I think that's a good fit for you if you just say, okay, we're going to wait on next year for our top tier quarterback. But they may still get a quarterback in this spot. But I think the Panthers are another team that could be talking about trading out of this A spot to get future assets down the road as well, too. What are your thoughts on this pick?
Elijah's he's got great strength and balance. He's going to be really good with the pass protection. I think he's very fundamentally sound. not the greatest athlete necessarily, but because his technique is so sound. He's never out of position, really. So he never puts himself in a bad position. I think as a pass protector, he gets like an A- from me. It'll be interesting to see, though, how they utilize him, whether as a tackle or a guard. I think his upside is as a guard, because he's got an opportunity to start right away and possibly be a perennial Pro Bowler at that position.
All right, so the Panthers may be getting themselves a steal here, or whomever comes into the A spot and maybe takes a swing at getting him. But I think who's trying to trade into the A spot is a team that's in the Northeast, led by the evil emperor himself, Bill B. So we'll see how it goes. But with the 9th pick in the draft, the Denver Broncos select quarterback Justin Fields, and I think this is the perfect fit. This is exactly where Justin Fields needs to be. He needs to be with John Elway, a quarterback, a guy who is a legend and one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time in my book. I can't put him in everybody else's book, but in my book. And I think that this is the guy that John Elway finally hits a home run on. He's drafted other quarterbacks since his tenure here, and it hasn't worked out. It started off with the kid from Memphis. He never even saw the field like that. Then they brought in Locke, who's consistent and inconsistent at the same time too. He has the makings of a backup, in my opinion. But this kid, Justin Fields, can be a day one quarterback for you and be one of these great gunslingers in the gunslingers division. Because let's all keep it real. The best quarterbacks playing the AFC West right now. You got Mahomes in Kansas City, you got Carr in Vegas, and then you have Herbert in LA. And so you add in Justin Fields, you're going to have some really tough games going on here in this AFC West in the future. So I love Justin Fields to the Broncos if the Broncos don't trade out of this spot. But I think Justin Fields, if he's available, he lands to the Broncos. Thoughts on that?
I mean, great pick. It is a great fit. I love it. This guy, he's got size, he's got strength, he's got speed. His arm, he's got a cannon. The guy crushed it with his ground game. He crushed it as a passer. He's got some deep ball accuracy. He's able to make his progressions. He's got that explosive first step that you like to see. He's able to pull away from any defender on the field. He's going to be really fun to watch. He could take a hit. He's tough. Took a lot of hits throughout the season because he's got the ball so often. So just by virtue of how much he was involved with the offense, you're going to take some licks, and it looks like he was able to withstand them. So we'll see how quickly they are able to acclimate him to the NFL. I'm not sure when they're targeting to put him on the playing field as a starter, but I will not doubt John Elway for being able to make that read on the situation. And I think he's going to be, if he's not rushed, I think this kid's going to be really special.
Right, because geographically, I think Trey Lance will be, better for the Broncos. But in reality, this is your guy because you want to start winning kind of right away. And you do have some pretty good receivers over there in Denver. And then you do have a running game, and then you still have the defense as well, too. All right, so with our 10th pick, and this is our final pick for the mock top 10, it's going to be Patrick Surtain, number 2. And we all remember Pat's daddy when he played for the Dolphins, and he was an excellent corner in his own right. And I think Surtain fits the bill. He's an Alabama guy, and it's going to be another Cowboys hype fest here as well, too. They get the best defensive player on the board, and that's going to be Pat Surtain. And they didn't have to even worry about it at all. They didn't have to trade up. They didn't have to do anything. He falls to him right there at number 10. Real quick, what are your thoughts on this one?
Great press coverage type of a DB. He's got size. He's a bigger corner, and I think that'll bode well for him in the NFC East because they're always looking for that next Plaxico Burress to make those jumping catches. They're always looking for that in the NFC East, and I think he's going to come in and right away be able to shut down any receiver that's a non-Cowboy in that division. So I think this is a very good move for the Cowboys. I think he's going to be very successful. I loved his pops. I like this kid too.
All right. So Mike's going to hang out with us a little bit longer, and we're going to go get into this MLB. But first, you guys go ahead and check out Paramount Plus. Use that promo code VSX, and you guys can get yourself involved in some pretty good content. They got a lot of good things going on with that. And you can stream sports there as well too. So I'm guessing when you get to the NFL season, you'll have an opportunity to stream your favorite team probably the next day and watch their game in its entirety as well too, if it's on CBS. So you guys go ahead and check it out. Paramount Plus. Use the promo code VSX. And with that, we will be right back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Now you can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back in time to go ahead and get into Blue Crew Daily. And the Dodgers now 15-9 after starting the season off, 13-2. They've dropped their last 7 out of 9 games. And, this is starting. It's not. But once again, don't panic. It's only April. All right. This isn't the end of the year. This isn't where you want the Dodgers, losing at. You know what I mean? You don't want them losing at any point, but there's going to be points of times where you're going to get 2 weeks where you're not going to be doing anything well in the MLB. And the Dodgers just are at that point right now where they got a lot of guys on the injured reserve, and then they have a lot of expectations on top of them as well, too. And, you thought that this was going to be a series that worked out very well for the Dodgers because they were going to be at home for the next few weeks. But the thing is, though, this is kind of detrimental because they've been playing much better ball on the road. But it's time, just pretty much I feel like the Dodgers are still in spring training. They started off very well during the season because you still got that World Series juice flowing through you. But then they settle down. They're getting a little too comfortable. And this is why you see this team losing 7 out of 9 games right now. But it's okay, though, at the end of the day, because you had an angry Padres team. And, the Reds are always a surprising team. So your thoughts on this, Mike?
Well, I've got a question for you. What is your take on – and he's been tremendous. I'm not trying to dog the guy. He's been fantastic. He's been a big part of the success of the Dodgers over the last few years. But where do the Dodgers go from here with Kenley Jansen? Are they committed to him being the guy for the rest of the season? Or does Dave Roberts and company have the next man up already in mind in case Jansen has a rocky stretch?
If we had the next man up, I think we would have seen him already, to be honest with you. Because So
do you think Jensen's hanging on to a very, very thin line there?
Let me give you a great story about Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen was, he was a catcher before he was a pitcher. And I remember I watched his debut. It was against the Giants. The kid came in throwing 105, and everybody went crazy. You know what I mean? And they didn't know if he could be a starter or a closer. And it looked good. You know what I mean? But then they had a closer by the name of Jonathan Broxton, who was an all-star as well, too. And Jay Broxton kind of lost his mojo right after that All-Star game because he knew what was over his shoulder. And the Dodgers haven't presented that player yet for Kenley Jansen to just get worried about things and for them to just kind of pull him out pull him out or try to work a deal to get him out of here. You know what I mean? Because Broxton was actually in a contract year as well too. And the Dodgers didn't even budge, and he walked off and he went off to play for Kansas City, and then it was over. So when I look at this situation, I think about Jonathan Broxton, and I think that the Dodgers have to present the replacement. So then either he's going to get himself in gear, or then they can realize that, they can move on from him. But I just don't think that they have that guy in place, and they just have, and he's seen as one of the Dodgers guys. He's a star. He's in the community. He's doing all this stuff, and he loves being on the team. And these are the things that keep you around. And I think that that's what the Dodgers doing. But the Dodgers got to stop being so sentimental and get themselves a guy that's going to go down there and get you 1, 2, 3 and walk on down the road. You know what I mean? Not a guy that's going to go in there and get you 1, 2 and then give up 4 runs. Okay. So pretty much I think the Dodgers know the writing's on the wall. And when they get to the trade deadline, if there's a bad team out there, whomever their best reliever is, go after him.
It's a weird situation because he's not terrible, right? He's good enough to still make a case to keep the job, but you also know in the back of your mind that he's going to blow some games this year. Right. So it's a kind of a tough situation. Like you almost wish he sucked more because then it makes it easier. Right. What makes it hard is when you're like, well, maybe he finds his old form. He shows it. He's just not consistent anymore. Right. How can we get him to consistently show his old form? And I think that's what makes it a difficult situation. But right now, to me, and I'm not saying he's been the cause of these last couple of weeks, but I think he's the weakest link.
I agree. And, you got to have a good pitching staff here. You got to have a good back end. And the Dodgers will shore up this situation as well, too. So I'm with you, brother. I think that the Dodgers are probably fielding calls right now to see if they can get some value for him. And if not, then they have to figure out a way to where, he doesn't close every night and they start doing open auditions for the new closer. You know what I mean? So
maybe we could see like David Price reinvent himself as a closer or something. I mean, wouldn't be. We saw that with Smoltz. We saw that with Eckersley, and it turned out to be exceptionally well. I would think that Price would rather be a closer than a middle reliever. I think he's got that mentality. Right. And I think if he doesn't have to, if he could go balls out for 1 inning, I think he could be a lot better. Because you got to space it out as a starter a little bit. Make sure you have something in the tank for the latter innings. So he's used to that. But if you told him 1 and gun, I think it'd be cool to see.
All right. So the Dodgers, they're playing. They've actually started about 20 minutes ago. So this is an afternoon game. So everybody who's ditching work today, we're going to see you in a moment. All right. So, the boss going to be pretty mad that you didn't take him to the game with you. Okay. So all y'all ditching work right now, have fun. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the first game. Nats at the Blue Jays. This was going to be a good game. I think that they're a little bit overvaluing the Blue Jays here. I think the Nats have a strong chance to win this game today, but we're going to see how it shakes out. And the over and under 9.5 is possible because, they're playing in a small stadium over there in Buffalo today with the Blue Jays. Real quick, Mike, give me 90 seconds. What are your thoughts on this game?
By the way, I hope some of your viewers capitalize on some of the over-unders we talked about last week. The big one was obviously the Cubs and the Mets. Last week's show, it was I think a 9.5 over-under, and they scored 20 runs between the two of them or whatever. Don't you love that, man, when you're able to clear the over-under halfway through the game and you're now relaxed? It's the only wager in sports that you don't need it to get to the very end where then you could kind of count your chickens. You count your chickens midway through the game. Love that feeling. Hopefully we could pluck out another one today, and I think this is a good spot for it. I think Steven Matz has been pitching out of his mind. He came over from the Mets, done a really nice job with the Blue Jays. Guerrero on fire, youngest player in Blue Jays history to hit 3 home runs, but they're going up against Eric Fedde, whatever his name is, with the Nationals. Not very good. The Nationals have a poor road record, 3-7. Fedde's ERA 5.51. Even if Matz gives up 2 or 3 runs, I think this opposing pitcher gives up 5-6 runs, and so does the bullpen. I think the play here is the over, and I'd give a slight lean to the Blue Jays because their offense is rolling right now.
Gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Athletics and the Rays. The Athletics coming in here as kind of a big dog today, plus 150. And this is one of the hottest teams in baseball, so they're kind of handing you some pretty good spot here with this game. So, what are your thoughts, real quick, on the A's and the Rays today?
Yeah, well, we know why, because lately Tyler Glasnow has been getting a lot of pub, starter for the Rays. And deservingly so. He's been lights out, 2.05 ERA. He's got some really, really wicked stuff. Probably vaulted himself to one of the better pitchers in the American League. But you hit it, man. Really, outside since that dismal start by the A's, there's nobody that's played better baseball than them. They've been on fire. They won the first game in the series. Tampa came back yesterday. This is the rubber game. This is the rubber match. I think that they kind of just. These two teams are kind of evenly matched. So I think it's like A's one day, Tampa another day. Today's the A's day. I think this is a good money line situation where you're getting some value here, like you mentioned. And Cole Irvin, the starter on the other side, is pretty good too. So I think it's a low-scoring game. I think the A's edged them out late in the game.
All right. And I like it. That sounds good to me. I'm kind of going in a different direction there, but I love the analogy for that game, and I know the dog bettors love that as well too. And that's exactly who we like to entertain here because everybody loves a dog bet. So let's go ahead and talk about the Cubs at the Braves. The Cubs coming in here as a slight doggy dog, plus 110 today, and then the Braves are minus 135. This has been a funny series because the Braves have won the first two games of the series. Now we're sitting here at the I don't know if this is the end point of the series. I got to double check, but this is winding up being a pretty good week for the Braves to start off. But now Kyle Hendricks takes the mound against Noah, and I think that this matchup will wind up being a little bit better than it looks on paper. But I think at the end of the day, I will have to be, taking the doggy here because I like Kyle Hendricks in this spot because I think a lot of people are going to overvalue the Braves here. So we'll see how it shakes out, see how it goes. Real quick, what are your thoughts?
I can't give you a winner, but I think we go with the over 8.5.
Okay, and then, yes, it's a 4-game series with the Cubs. So this game right here, if the Braves win, they win the series. If the Cubs win, they got a chance to split the series tomorrow. So we'll see how it shakes out, see how it goes. Let's get into a divisional matchup between the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. And you know what? Detroit caught me by surprise yesterday. I thought they was literally going to get their head kicked in. They wound up winning the game 5-2, so shame on me. All right, so, pretty much the White Sox coming here once again, a heavy favorite today. Tigers are plus 180. And you know what? The Tigers have been a really good road team. Their issues arise at home. They're 8-16 on the year, but if you look at their wins, a lot of them come on the road. As just like last night, when nobody sees them coming, here they go with a big effort and a big win. So they won last night 5-2 after dropping 4 in a row to Kansas City. And then, the White Sox had actually won 3 in a row against Texas, and then they dropped that game against Detroit. So when I look at this spot, I think that to myself that this one is going to wind up being a pretty entertaining game, but I'm scoreboard watching here. I'm not picking any sides. Real quick, what are your thoughts on this one, Mike?
Yeah, I think this is a play for the White Sox here. Carlos Rodon has been lights out. He's been giving up less than a half of a run a game ERA-wise. I think this is the pick that you utilize for your money line parlays. This is the one that you key in on and then use this in all your plays and then match it up with some of your pluses.
All right. I like it. And then we got the Mariners at the Astros. Mariners coming in here plus 165. Dog. And then you got the Astros minus 200. Chalky chalk. And here we go with the over-under 8.5. The Mariners I like this team, Mike, to be honest with you. Like everything about the Mariners. The Mariners, and especially if you love the athletic side of things, you know what I mean? And you want to get back into the game a little bit, this could be your team, the Mariners, because they have a lot of diversity on the Mariners as well, too. And so pretty much this team is a fun team, and you love the fun teams in the MLB, and pretty much they're coming in here. Justin Dunn coming in here. He has a issue with yielding a lot of walks, but that was really opening day for him. Now you go against a great pitcher in Zach Greinke, who I think will be a Hall of Famer eventually when it's all said and done. I think Greinke, fits the bill for that as well too. Maybe the Dodgers might call him back to come on back. You know what I mean? I really hate the fact that he's not a Dodger anymore, but hey, it is what it is. Everybody blame Puig. So pretty much we got this good game here, and I think what happens here is that you can scoreboard watch here as well too. I think that's what this game is here for, and I think that we're going to wind up having a pitcher's duel here. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I like this pitcher, Justin Dunn, for the Mariners. I think he's got a lot of upside, young and full of potential. Gotta love it. Obviously, I agree with you. Greinke's a phenomenal pitcher. May end up in the Hall of Fame. These teams kind of going a little bit directions over the last few days. Mariners losers of 3 in a row. Astros are kind of starting to find their groove again. Winners of 2 in a row. Hard to bet against Greinke. If I was to take a side, I'd probably go with the Astros at home. But I'm like you. I really like the Mariners and what they've done. They're over 500 on the road. So, this would be a slight lean to the home team. And like I said, the key word there is slight.
All right, let's get to the capper. It's going to be the Rockies at the Giants tonight. It's going to be another divisional game. You got the Rockies plus 125. Giants are minus 155 tonight. We know that this is going to change. I think the Giants are going to be an overbet here, and I think it's rightfully so as well, because I think the Giants are going to perform tonight, and they're going to wind up getting themselves a good victory here, and I'm calling the winner right now. I think they do win this game. And you know what? It's not overspending or anything like that. It is a favor, but it's the right number. Minus 150 is not too bad. So, don't sweat it out too hard with this one. I think everything should work out at the end of the day. So I really do like the Giants today with the minus 155, but it's dropped down to a minus 150. And I think that it'll go up even higher than both those numbers I just gave you by the time we get to the first pitch. Your thoughts, Mike?
Love the Giants here. Look, the Rockies won their very first road game of the year yesterday against the Giants. Wow. I don't see them doing 2 in a row. 1-7 on the road. Giants have been playing out of their minds. One of the big reasons for that is Alex Wood, their starting pitcher. He's been pitching out of his mind. He's unbeaten, giving up less than 1 earned run a game. I think he continues that against a mediocre offense away from Coors Field. Opposite of him, Herman Marquez. He's a good pitcher, especially outside of Coors. I think it should be a low-scoring game, but I think the Giants nudge them 4-2, and also maybe consider the under.
All right, man. Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming in today, man, talking baseball with me, talking the draft with me as well, too, talking Kentucky Derby with me as well. So, you know what? We got a lot covered today. And you know what? I thank you so much for coming on in and, giving us your expertise. And we look forward to bringing you back next Wednesday as well, too.
Always love being on with you, Pop. It's a pleasure and an honor. And I'm looking forward to tuning in to Horsing Around. I want to be able to round out my pick fours, my exactas and trifectas for both days. So I'm looking forward. I'll be definitely tuning in with my racing form, my PPs open, my notepad ready, and my pen, my chewing tobacco, and my Diet Coke.
And your piece of paper for when I say something that you don't agree with. Like, Bobby going, that's not gonna work. All right, man.
Always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, man.
All right, brother. And I will do. Good luck to you as well. Signing off, brother. I'll talk to you in a bit.
Okay, man.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and pretty much you guys check out FuboTV, and FuboTV is pretty fun. And this is a very good app. You guys can get all the sports games that you want, all that good stuff. So check them on out. That's going to be FuboTV, live TV and sports. And you guys can start your free trial today on me. And you guys can go ahead and get that in the show description as well, too. So just press that link and you get 7 days for free on me. And then if you do want to move forward, no credit check, and it will be $55 a month. So very good value with this, and you get all the sports channels that you can stand and watch, and you can watch all types of stuff. So with that, we will be back. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the show, and pretty much here we are with the Premier Sports Betting Show, and you guys already know what time it is. Let's get into the NBA preview real quick. I'm going to be moving a little fast because we did go well over, and we're reaching a time point that we don't ever go to. So we have the Hawks at the 76ers. The Hawks coming in here as an 8-point dog tonight. 40-21, the 76ers team still holding on to the lead here in the Eastern Conference as well, too. Well, they're actually a game and a half behind Brooklyn at this point, but they're trying to stay at pace and keep themselves in the race for that. And we know that we already know what's going on with the Hawks. The Hawks are actually in the playoff race as well, too, and the Hawks are actually sitting pretty at the 5th seed. So this is a big game tonight, and I think that pretty much when it comes down to it, you'll have yourself some really good basketball going with Trae Young coming back and everything like that. So I like this game tonight, and this is going to be one of our better games in the NBA tonight as well, too. Now we move on to the Hornets at the Celtics, and the Hornets at the Celtics, it should be another fun one. These guys are really head-to-head right now. And then when you look at the situation that's occurring, you got the Hornets, who started off the season very well. They're regressing now. And then you got Boston improving. The Boston sitting at the 6th seed, while you have Charlotte at the 8th seed. Charlotte's 3-7 in their last 10, while Boston's 6-4 in their last 10. We're going to see how this one goes, but this should be a really good game tonight. And I like what I see here. I think that, Boston's going to be ready to get into this one very thoroughly, because they got beat last night by a team that hadn't won all month. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Boston should step it up here, but this is going to be a good game as well, too, because you have to understand the Hornets are trying to hold off Indiana and Washington for that final playoff spot so they can get that play-in, because if they keep losing, then they might drop all the way out of this thing, and they don't want that to happen. So we move forward, and we have our next game up, and that's going to be the Bulls and Spurs and the Heat. And the Spurs and the Heat actually pretty good game here with the Spurs and the Heat. They played the other day. The Heat won that game, but I think the Spurs got some get back in them. They won their last 4 out of 5, while the Heat have won their last 3 out of 5. So this is a good game. It's a interconference game as well, too. So it should be a lot of fun in this spot, because it's very unpredictable. So we'll see how it shakes out. Miami is the home favorite tonight, and we'll see how it goes. And then we got a good classic matchup with the Bulls at the Knicks tonight. Everybody who loves Michael Jordan, and everybody who loves the 90s Knicks, remember those classic games between these two teams, and those classic games in Madison Square Garden that really literally defined Jordan's legacy as well, too, because he killed it every single time when he needed to in the Garden. So it's always fun to watch the Bulls and the Knicks in the Garden, because you're looking at good old rivals that always make for great theater in that arena. So we're going to see how it shakes out, see how it goes. Knicks red hot right now. Now, just lost the other night, but they had won 9 in a row. So, this game does yield a very, very intriguing matchup. So we'll see how it shakes out, see how it goes. Two of the fun teams in the NBA, and we'll see who the best team is going to be at the end of the night. But Knicks Bulls, good reminds me of 96 right now, but the Bulls aren't as good as the Knicks right now. So it is what it is. All right, so we move on, and our next game is going to be the Blazers at the Grizzlies. Oh, I'm sorry, the Clippers at the Suns. And the Clippers at the Suns is going to be a pretty good game as well, too. This one is going to wind up being a good game in my opinion, because I feel like you have the Clippers and Suns both going in the same direction. They're vying now for the Pacific title. The Lakers are probably not going to play a part in that, but that's okay because the Lakers have bigger fish to fry called an NBA championship. So you got these two teams that are pretty much deadlocked at 43 wins, but thing is the Suns still own a one-game lead over the Clippers because they're 43-18 to the Clippers 43-20. So we're going to see how this one goes, see how it shakes out, and this should be another really good game tonight between the Clippers and the Suns. And I think when it comes down to it, the Clippers are well into this game, even though they're going to kind of be short-handed. It's still a Clipper team that you can't look past. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. And in Talkin Tickets, let's go ahead and talk about the Let's go ahead and talk about the PrimeTime PK6. This one is going to be pretty good. We got ourselves 47-1, and with the 47-1, we have plus 1.5 on the Nats, and it was a 1.5 on the Rays, and the Cubs money line plus 110. The over 7.5 with the Tigers and the White Sox. The under 8.5 with the Mariners and the Astros, and the Giants tonight with the minus 150. And that's going to be a 47-1 ticket. Single what you like there. All right, and then let's go ahead and end it with the NBA Super High Five at 35-1. We have the over 215 with the Hawks and the 76ers tonight. Then we have the minus 6.5 on the Celtics. I think they'll be able to take care of their business in their game. And then we have the under 209 with the Bulls and the Knicks tonight. I think that this is going to be a good defensive matchup. And then we have the Spurs money line as the dog of the day with the plus 165. And then we're going to end the night with the Clippers with the plus 4 just to be in the game. And we're going to use the insurance play here, okay? So that's a 35-1 ticket there. NBA Super High Five, single what you like. And you guys can go ahead and bet this over at UWager, where the world bets at. And you guys can use my promo code VSXPOP. You guys can receive up to 50% on a match deposit. So if you go ahead and put up $400, they'll match you with the $200 free play, and your sports betting journey begins from there. All right, so I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. There is no me without you. And once again, always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.